Welcome! Today we will crochet a V-shaped puff stitch hat. It will be a little slouchy at its end as we can see. So let's get started. We will use a wool yarn, it's called S&G. And we will use a size 3 hook. The size cap will consume 100 grams of yarn. We'll begin with the starting chain, it will be 95 stitches. We'll start with the bottom, which should fit the size of the forehead. So we started the ice cap from bottom to top. As we said, the starting chain is 95 stitches. The length of the starting chain should match the size of the forehead of the person who we are making this ice cap for. Make sure the chain is not twisted. Connect the first stitch with the last one. And join them with a slip stitch to form a ring. So as we said, we're working our way from the bottom of the ice cap to its top. Now we'll chain 3 as we will work a double crochet. And we'll do 1 double crochet in each chain stitch. We'll work all our way double crocheting to the end of the round. Doing 1 double crochet in each chain stitch. The first 2 rows in the ice cap will be done with double crochets. These are the first 2 rows at the beginning. After these 2 rows we will start working with puff stitches. So as we said, we'll continue our way doing 1 double crochet in each chain stitch until we get to the end of the round. And the same for the second round, we'll do 1 double crochet in each stitch. So we'll do 2 full rounds of double crochets. Now we've completed 2 rounds of double crochets. As we said, the starting chain was 95 stitches. We joined the first stitch with the last one to form a ring. The first 2 rounds were double crochet stitches. In the first round we did 1 double crochet in each chain stitch. And in the second round as well we did 1 double crochet in each stitch. Now we'll start making a foundation for the puff stitches. First we chain 3. And we'll do the first puff stitch in the first stitch. The puff stitch will be 5 incomplete half double crochets. As we can see, yarn over and pull through as if we're doing a half double crochet, but we won't finish it. Now we've done 3 incomplete half double crochets. 4, 5. Then yarn over and pull through all of the incomplete half double crochets on the hook. And finish the first stitch with a chain stitch. Now we'll do the second puff in the next stitch. Same way as the previous one. Yarn over and insert the hook into the stitch to do the first incomplete half double crochet. Yarn over again and do the second incomplete half double crochet in the same stitch. And the third one. The fourth. Fifth. Now we have 5 loops on the hook all done into the same stitch. Yarn over and pull through all loops on the hook. And finish off with a chain stitch. So we're making units of puff stitches, Each unit is 2 puffs beside each other. And then we'll separate between them with a chain stitch. In the first row we are building a foundation for the puffs that we'll do next, which will form the body of the ice cap. Now skip 2 stitches. And in the third stitch we'll do the second set of the puffs. Same as before, we go into the same stitch and do 5 incomplete half double crochet in this stitch. Then yarn over and pull through all loops on the hook. And finish the puff with a chain stitch. And then we'll do the second puff in the next stitch. As before, we'll start with 5 incomplete half double crochets. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yarn over and pull through all loops on the hook and finish with a chain stitch. This was the second set of puffs. Separate with a chain. Skip 2 stitches and in the third stitch we'll do the first puff of the next puff set. Now we have 5 incomplete half double crochet on the hook, yarn over and pull through all loops. Finish with a chain stitch. In the next stitch we'll do the second puff of this set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yarn over and pull through all loops of 5 incomplete half double crochets and finish with a chain. And then to the next set. First we do 1 chain and start the next puff set. After the puff set we just did, we'll skip 2 stitches and do the next set in the third stitch. As we said, we skip 2 stitches and do a chain to separate between the 2 stitches. Now to the next 2 puffs. Each puff stitch is 5 incomplete half double crochets. Pull through all loops and finish with a chain stitch. Then go into the next stitch and do the second puff. Pull through all loops and finish with a chain stitch. As we can see, these are the sets that we'll be doing. Separate with a chain and skip 2 stitches and do the next puff set in the third stitch. As we said, each puff stitch is 5 incomplete half double crochets. Yarn over and pull through all loops on the hook and finish off with a chain stitch. Then we do the next stitch the same way. 5 incomplete half double crochets and keep all loops on the hook. And pull through all loops of the half double crochets and finish it with a chain stitch. Separate with a chain and skip 2 stitches and do the next puff set in the third stitch. This is how we are building the foundation for the next puff rounds. So we'll continue the first round the same way, as it will be the foundation for the next rounds. Now we've gotten to the last 2 puffs in the first round. We'll join the round with a slip stitch at the third stitch of the starting chain. Now chain 3 to start the second round. The first round was the base for the next puff rounds. We separated each 2 puffs from the next set of 2 puffs. So we do 2 puffs in 2 consecutive stitches and then we do a chain. Then we skip 2 stitches and do the next 2 puffs also in 2 consecutive stitches. Then we separate with 1 chain. And then we skip 2 stitches in the round we're working in to separate them from the next puff set. So the whole round was sets of puff stitches and we separated each 2 sets. Now we'll start the second round and we'll maintain the form of puff sets we did in the first round. We'll do the next puffs between the puffs we did in the first round. In the first round we did each puff in 1 stitch. And to maintain this form of connected chains of puffs in the next rounds, we'll do each 2 puffs in the gap between the puffs in the previous round. So now we'll start the first puff and as we said we'll go into the gap between the 2 puffs in the last round. And we'll do the puff the same way as before, 5 incomplete half double crochets. Yarn over and pull through all loops. And finish with a chain stitch to separate this puff from the next one. Now we'll do the second puff in the same gap we did the first one. Same way, 5 incomplete half double crochets. Then yarn over and pull through all loops on the hook and finish with a chain stitch. We finish each puff with a chain so that it separates each 2 puffs. And as we saw we did both puffs in the same gap between the 2 puffs in the last round. And this is the pattern we'll follow to create chains of puff stitches, all are connected together. So we'll be making rounds of puffs the same way. We're making a chain to separate each 2 puff stitches. By now we've already made the foundation for the next puffs so we won't skip any stitches. And we'll go directly into the gap between the last puffs to do the new ones. So we're doing the new puff stitches in the gap between the puffs in the last round. 3, 4. Now we have 5 incomplete half double crochets. Yarn over and pull through all loops on the hook and finish with a chain stitch. And then we do the second puff. 4, 5. Then yarn over and pull through all loops and finish the second puff with a chain stitch. As we can see we did both puffs in the same gap between the 2 puffs in the last round. And separate between them with a chain stitch. Then we do the new set of puffs in the next gap between the puff stitches in the last round. Five. And join this puff with a chain and start the next puff in the same gap between the 2 puffs in the last round. Yarn over and pull through all loops and join the second puff with chain. And do another chain to separate between them. We already have a gap that separates each 2 sets. So we'll go directly into the gap between the 2 puffs in the last round and do the next puffs. And finish the first puff with a chain. Then we do the second puff in the same gap. 4. And now we have 5 incomplete half double crochets. Yarn over and pull through all loops and finish with a chain. We can see that the chains of puff stitches are starting to form. Separate with a chain and then do the next puff set. Join the first stitch and do the second puff in the same gap between the 2 puffs in the last round. 3, 4, 5. Join all stitches together with a chain stitch and now we have 2 puffs. If we need more demonstration for the puff stitch or any other stitches we did so far, you can find all stitches demonstrated in detail in our crochet basics videos in our channel. Separate with a chain stitch. Then we'll do the next 2 puffs the same way into the gap between the 2 puffs in the last round. And the second puff in the same gap as well. Yarn over and pull through all loops and join them with a chain stitch. And repeat the same steps we did before, doing 2 puff stitches in the gap between the 2 puff stitches in the last round. Both puffs are done in the same gap. Only in the first round we were building the foundation for the puff chains. So we were doing 1 puff in each stitch of the last round. And we skipped 2 stitches and did the new puff in the next stitch. Make sure to maintain the separate chain, we'll keep doing it in all of the next rows. And when we started the new row we followed the pattern that we'll use in all of the next rows. The first row was the foundation as we were working in the double crochets row. But for the next rows we will be working in the puff stitches itself. So the new puff stitches will be done in the empty space between the 2 puffs in the previous round. And we will maintain the chain that separates each 2 puffs. Continue the rest of rounds the same way without any changes, doing a chain stitch to separate the puffs. Then do the new puffs in the same empty space between the puff stitches in the last round. Continue the same way and maintain the pattern and same count of stitches until we've made 26 rounds. Now we've completed all rows of puff stitches. All done the same way, doing 2 puffs in the empty space between the puffs in the previous round. And separate each set of puffs with a chain stitch. We did 26 rows, and if we wanted the ice cap to be longer or shorter we will change the count of rows. If we want to make this ice cap for kids, we will change the length of the starting chain that we did to fit the size of the forehead. So we'll measure the length of this chain to fit the size of the forehead of the kid. As for the number of rows, it will depend on the desired length of the ice cap. If we wanted it to be more slouchy, we will make more rows. As we can see now, the ice cap took the form of a rectangle and there is one last step left. Now we will sew this opening shut to finish the ice cap. We will keep this loose and long enough and we'll use a yarn needle. We're using a yarn needle because we want to sew this opening shut without doing too much crochet work. We don't want to use a crochet hook because it will be difficult for us to shut this opening with it. So we will use a yarn needle. We choose specific stitches to work in. We will join the stitch between the puffs with the chain between each two puff sets. Then again, into the stitch between the puffs and the stitch that separates between them. Pull it tight. As we see, we insert the needle into the stitch between the puffs and the stitch that separates each two sets. So we are pulling the yarn tight to join this part and shut it. Now we've completed sewing this part. I'll sew it a little more, so this opening is tightly shut. I'll weave the yarn into the inner side of the ice cap so it doesn't come undone. Now the opening is completely shut. And this is how the ice cap looks after we shut the top part. The last step left is the butterfly that we'll decorate the ice cap with it. We'll start it with a chain of 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we join the first stitch with the last one with a slip stitch to form a ring. We'll do the butterfly with puff stitches, so first we chain 3. Then we begin the first puff and it will be 3 half double crochets. 2, 3. Yarn over and pull through all loops on the hook. Join it with a chain stitch and then we'll do 2 more chain stitches to close on the puff stitch. So we started with 5 chain stitches and joined them with a slip stitch to form a ring. We chained 3 and started the first puff, which was 3 incomplete half double crochets. Then we finished the puff with a chain and did 2 more chain stitches. Then we did a slip stitch so this puff is separated from the next puff. Now chain 3 for the next puff stitch. It will also be 3 incomplete half double crochets. 3. As we can see, we will yarn over and pull through all loops on the hook. and finish the puff with a chain stitch. Then do 2 more chains and finish off with a slip stitch in the starting ring. So this puff is separated from the next one. So we've started at the ring and joined it also at the ring with a slip stitch. We started this puff with 3 chains and we did 2 puffs until now. Each one is 3 half double crochets joined together with a chain stitch. Then we do 2 more chains so we can finish off with a slip stitch in the starting ring. Now we'll do 2 more puffs, but they will be bigger. We'll start with 3 chains. And each of these 2 puffs will be 7 half double crochets. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yarn over and pull through all the 7 loops of the half double crochets that form the 3rd puff. Finish it with a chain and do 2 more chains. And join it with a slip stitch at the starting ring so it's separated from the next puff. Now we'll do the 4th puff and it will also be 7 incomplete half double crochets. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pull through all 7 loops and finish off with a chain. And another 2 chains and join it at the starting ring with a slip stitch. Now we've completed the butterfly wings. They were 4 puff stitches. 2 stitches are bigger than the others. Each of the small puffs were 3 incomplete half double crochets joined together with a chain. We start each puff with 3 chains and then we do 3 incomplete half double crochets. And finish them with a chain stitch. Then we do another 2 chains so we can join the puff stitch with a slip stitch at the starting ring. After we finish this puff we do another 3 chains for the next puff. And do the second puff, which will be same as the first one. 3 incomplete half double crochets and finish with a chain stitch. Then chain 2 so we can join this puff with a slip stitch at the starting ring. These were the smaller puff stitches. As for the 2 bigger puffs, we also started each one with 3 chains. Each of them was 7 incomplete half double crochets. After we did the 7 incomplete half double crochets we join them with a chain. Then we do 2 more chains so we can join it at the starting ring with a slip stitch. We also did the 4th puff the same way, 7 incomplete half double crochets. We start it with 3 chains and finish it also with 3 chains at its end. And we join it with a slip stitch at the starting ring. Now I'll form the butterfly shape, so I'll cut off this string. We'll place it so the bigger puffs are up and the smaller ones will be down. Get the strand. It's the same color we used for the ice cap. I'll leave this end a bit longer, as we see the 2 big puffs are up. And the small ones are down. Now I'll divide them with the string at the middle. I won't make too many wraps. Cut the string and tie a knot. Tie both ends together. Cut off the yarn so it gives us the butterfly shape like so. Now we've completed the butterfly, the bigger puffs are up and the smaller ones down. And we divided it at the middle using another color. We'll attach it to the ice cap using a sewing needle and a thread. And this will be the last step for this ice cap. We attached the butterfly to the ice cap and it's all done. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and share. And if you have any question, write it in the comments. Subscribe now if you want to get all our new videos. Thank you.